Okay, this is lesson 35 for 7th grade, and today's topic is adding, subtracting, multiplying, and dividing decimal numbers. So we're sticking with the decimal number topic, and this is definitely a review, something we should have seen before. Basic arithmetic with all of these decimal numbers. So for adding, subtracting, we're going to find out we really want to make sure we line up the decimal points when we subtract. And then multiplying and dividing, we'll find out can do different things with our decimal point as we go. So this is the electronic version of the book, so I'm just going to hit a few examples today just to help us review a little bit, and then that should be good. So for this first one here, it wants us to add 3.6, 0.36, and 36. And if you can see, what they did over here is they lined up the decimal points. So we've got 3.6, 0.36, so the decimal is lined up vertically, and 36. And where we don't have numbers filled in, we just put zeros. Alright? So everything's lined up and we just add vertically like we normally do. 0 plus 6 plus 0 is 6. 6 plus 3 is 9. Drop down your decimal point. 3 plus 0 plus 6 is 9. And 3. So we should get 39.96 when we add all those together. Very simple concept, and once again, make sure you're aligning those decimal points so we are adding or subtracting in the same place value. That's the biggest deal there. Alright, we'll head over to the next part of the book here. Here's a perimeter problem. It says find the perimeter of the rectangle, and we've got 0.3 meters and 0.2 meters. So we would just add, because we're going to have 4 sides, 0.3 plus 0.2 plus 0.3 plus 0.2. And we would make sure that our decimal is aligned there. Okay? Now I'll show you the subtraction one real quick. We want to subtract 12.3 and 4.567. 4 point, decimals on top of each other, 5, 6, 7. And we'll subtract there, add 2 zeros for place value, and you can see they've done that here already. I'm just going through it. Alright, so 0 minus 7, can't do that. 0 minus 6, we can't do that. We're going to have to borrow. Oh, we can't do 3 minus 5, and we can't do 2 minus 4. We're going to have to borrow from the 1 and carry all the way over to here. So smaller, this one is a 0. Drop it in is 12. Drops at 11, 13, 12, 10. Turns to 9. And we're ending with a 10 there. So 10 minus 7 is 3. 9 minus 6 is 3. 12 minus 5 is 7. Drop your decimal point. 11 minus 4 is 7. So we do get the same thing they got, 7.733. Okay? This one real quick. I won't go through it. The solution is right here, but we want 5 minus 4.32, 5.00, 4.32. And we would subtract that. We have to borrow from the 5. Oh, we could just do it real quick. Why not? So, turn that to a 4. That's a 10. We need to borrow from that to make this a 10. 8. 9 minus 3 is 6. Drop your decimal point. 4 minus 4 is 0. So we get 0.68 for that. So there we go. Lining up the decimal point is the big idea for adding, subtracting. And now we're going to move into a couple multiplying with decimal examples. It says if we multiply fractions such as 3/10 and 7/10, we get 21 over 100. And if we, so 21 hundredths is what we would call that. So if we put that into decimal form, this would be 0.3 times 0.7, and we get 0.21. That'd be the same thing as doing 21 divided by 100, or 21 in the hundredths place would be 0.21. And we're going to show you a couple of these. We'll just move, I don't know if I want this. They use this to show multiplication. It says each side of the square is 1 unit in length. If we multiply 3/10 of one side by 7/10 of one to the perpendicular side, so that would be 3/10 and 7/10. And we get 0.21. It's better if we just show you how to do this anyway. Longhand. Alright, find the area of this rectangle. We know that area for a rectangle means length times width. So we're going to do 0.4 times 0.25. Let's do 0.4 on the bottom, 0.25. Now a lot of you like to do your, what do they call it? The lattice way. I do it the old way, or what I call the old school way. If you want to do it the lattice way, that's okay. Check and see if you get the same thing. When we multiply it, it doesn't matter if our decimal places are lined up. So I'm just going to go ahead and do this. It'd be 4 times 5, which is 20. Bring your 2 up. 4 times 2 is 80, or 8. 4 times 2 is 8, plus 10, 2 is 10. So we get 100. The only thing is we have to figure out our decimal spot. So this has 2 decimal places, and this has 1. So 1, 2, and 1. So 2 and 1. So that means we're going to move our decimal spot 3 spots. 2 plus 1 is 3. So that's going to go 1, 2, 3. That's where our decimal goes. And our answer would be 0.100, or just 0.1. Okay? So don't have to line it up for that, but we do have to remember once we multiply that we need to figure out how many spaces we need to bring our decimal place over. Alright, let's try number 7 real quick. Okay. Simplify 0.03 squared. So that means we're going to take 0.03 times 0.03. And we'll multiply those. So we're going to go 3 times 3 is 9. 3 times 0 is 0. Let's do, or it's going to get zeros there. So it'd be 0 times 0, or 0 times 3 is 0, 0 times 0 is 0. So we have 0, 9, and we're going to figure out how many decimal spots we have to move over now. So this is 2 spots, 1, 2, 1, 2, so we've got 2 and 2. 2 plus 2 is 4. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, and we add in zeros there. So we should be getting 0.0009, or 9/10,000ths is what we would call that. Alright, and lastly, and the good thing is we can always check these on a calculator, and the calculator follows all these rules for us, which is very nice, but we do want to know how to do it by hand too. Let's do this divide right here. Divide 0.0144 and divide that by 8. So we're going to do 8 and 0.014. Alright, So this, for dividing, our decimal point comes straight up here. Okay? So whenever you're dividing, just bring your decimal point straight up. 8 goes into 0, 0 times. 8 goes into 0, 0 times. 8 does not go into 1, so that goes into 0 times. 8 does go into 14 once, so 1 times 8. And we'll do our subtraction. 14 minus 8 is 6. Drop down our 4 here. 8 goes into 64 8 times. We subtract that, we get a remainder of 0. So, when we divide, or when we do this divided by 8, we get 0.0018. And real quick, let's do this one too. 1.2 divided by 5. Once again, bring your decimal point straight up. 5 goes into 1 0 times. 5 goes into 12 twice. 2 times 5 is 10. An old student. So we're going to do 2 minus 0 here, or 12 minus 10, we'll get 2. We add a 0, and drop that down. 5 goes into 24 times, 4 times 5 is 20. Subtract, we get 0. So this one would be 0.24. And I don't think there's any more examples to go over. But basically what we're going to do tomorrow is go over a bunch of different many different types of these problems. Okay, so we'll stop there. And this should be a review, but we'll clean up any issues that we have tomorrow.